Hello, everybody! BeMetalways here! Welcome to another weekly heavy metal album review. This week I'm reviewing Blind Guardian, the God Machine, released by Nuclear Blast Records on September 2nd, 2022. After taking a detour in 2019 with the orchestra and vocal album, Legacy of the Dark Lands under the name Blind Guardian Twilight Orchestra, the German power metal icons are back with new music. In case you don't know, Blind Guardian is a German power metal band formed in 1984 in Krefeld, West Germany. They are often credited as one of the seminal and most influential bands in the power metal and speed metal subgenres, and also one of my favorite bands of all time. The band's lineup has consisted of singer Hans Kirsch, guitarists Andre Obrich and Markus Sippin from the beginning. Then drummer Frederick Emke joined in 2005. They are currently using bassists as session musicians. Blind Guardian released their first album Battalions of Fear in 1988. And I must say that most of Blind Guardian's albums were well received by fans and critics alike. Somewhere Far Beyond from 1992, Imaginations from the Other Side from 1995, and Nightfall in Middle-earth 1998 are especially seen as influential works and also my favorites. They have released 8 other studio albums on top of the ones I mentioned, making The God Machine their 12th studio album. It is the band's first regular studio album in 7 years, following Beyond the Red Mirror, marking the longest gap between 2 studio albums. Although, of course, as I mentioned, the orchestral album was released 3 years earlier. This new album clocks in at 51 minutes and feature 9 songs, all between 4 and 7 minutes, so a pretty straightforward album. This is a heavy, direct, and back to the roots kind of album. After releasing the most orchestral metal album in history, I think, they hit the limit and there was nowhere to go in terms of complexity and orchestrations. Even Beyond the Red Mirror was already a quite complex album, albeit not as much as A Night at the Opera from 2002, which is one of their most complex albums ever. So, The God Machine is more on the veins of Tales from the Twilight World from 1990 or Somewhere Far Beyond from 1992, but still sounding fresh and modern. Deliver Us from Evil is the opening single released back in December 21. The song is inspired by Arthur Miller's play The Crucible, which is a dramatic and partially fictionalized take on the Salem witch trials. It's a fantastic album opener with a big chorus full of hooks and backing vocals all over the place. There's a lot of variations, and at 190 BPM, it's a speed metal instant classic. Most of the album follow the same template, including Violent Shadows, which is the 4th and last single, which is about Kaladin fantasy novel series, The Stormlight Archives. This is the shortest song on the album, and it's a heavy and straightforward one. If it would be on Follow the Blind album, we would not be surprised. Released in March 22 as second single, Secrets of the American Gods references Neil Gaiman's fantasy novel American Gods. It's the longest song on the album with 7.5 minutes. Things slow down a bit here compared to the opening track and second track Dimension, which is clear from this moody intro that we have some orchestration and a choir, for example. But it's still a heavy song, as the song builds from this intro amazingly into a trademark mid-tempo Blind Guardian song with some great hooks. And I love the song outro, which is kind of Rainbow's Stargazer ending. Life Beyond the Spheres is about the creation of the universe, and as such, it's an epic tune with more groove and also a little bit slower tempo. Talking about slower tempo, we also get a sort of ballad with Let It Be No More, a very personal song to Hansi as it deals with the death of the frontman's mother. The third single, Blood of the Elves, references the video game The Witcher and to me sounds a lot like a song out of the Nightfall in Middle-earth album, so needless to say, it's a very good song, straightforward and heavy. With almost 7 minutes, Destiny closes the album, dialing down a bit on the heaviness of the album, but remaining faithful to their very early work. Now, while I praise the band for going back to raw and early sound, I also miss something. It all sounds very familiar, so while most of the songs are good, they also don't stand out compared to the classic albums, at least so far. Maybe with more spins on this one, this could change. But it's still a very fun album. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm just splitting hairs and being picky here. Wrapping up things, Blind Guardian revisits their early heavy and raw sound with the God Machine. A straightforward, mostly fast tempo and heavy album with minimal orchestrations, but as expected, with great hooks, melodies, and big choruses. If you know the early work of the band, there's nothing new here. It's a natural reaction to previous albums and sets the scene for maybe taking some more risks in the next album, maybe going even heavier, who knows. For now, this is a good album, 81 out of 100, and a certain success among longtime fans. Thanks for being here, for listening, and BeMetalways!